Hello and welcome to Poland vlog number 2. This encompasses the first full week in Poland, as well as the start of our first travel seminar, so lots of exciting stuff in this one. We began the week with a visit to Centennial Hall in Wrocław, which is a modernist building from the early 1900s, and it's like a giant event hall basically, and it's very, very large, and we learned all about it. The building is notable because, as you can see, it has an incredibly huge dome, and that dome at the time of its construction was the largest dome in the world, like that, bigger than like the Pantheon or any of those famous architectural domes, so it was pretty cool. On Monday we had a free day and I went to the zoo with a couple of my friends. The Wrocław Zoo is quite big. It's a little bit chaotic in terms of like making sure you've seen everything and following the path, but I saw a lot of very fun, exciting things. And it was nice to just like walk around, have some fresh air and not schoolwork. I spent like 10 minutes just sitting in front of that aquarium part, because it was really cool, like one of those kinds that is like a overhead, you're in a tunnel with all the sea creatures going around you. It was very cool. And then Tuesday we had class, and then Wednesday we were all in like action mode getting ready to go on our trip on Thursday, so laundry, packing, errands, all those kinds of things. Hello from me sitting inside this large mirror crystal thing. It's a seat, it's a cushion. I just got laundry in for the first time since being here. The laundry system is so complicated for no reason. Like, we had to sign up on this website and get like a chip, but then we don't even like scan the chip on anything. It's just a very complicated system, but I think I figured it out, so hopefully I'll have clean clothes soon. Then, bright and early on Thursday morning, we were off to Gdansk on the bus, not like a public bus, we have a hired bus, because the program travel is going to encompass 12 days. So the bus driver is taking us all around the country, basically. But yeah, it was a productive ride, got a lot done. It was very pretty too. that's really interesting to me going along here is like the countryside just looks the same pretty much. Like the highway and the countryside the same as it did. Well, I guess it was less green in Chile and parts of Chile, but like the same as it did in Italy. Like there are definitely some differences, but like it also even just reminds me of like driving through the US, so I feel like it's really interesting that just driving through like a generic countryside on the highway, you could just stop, like be plopped somewhere and like not really know what country you're in. I don't know, just a roadside thought. On the way to Gdansk, we did have a few very special important stops, and the first one of those was to Biskupin, an archaeological site dating back to 2,700 years ago, so about 700 BC to like 500-ish BC, and the houses that are there now, or like the wooden buildings that are there now, are reconstructions, but you can see some of the original wooden posts like poking out of the ground. But it was really cool to wander around this place where one of Poland's most famous archaeological sites is. The next couple of clips are from the same site, but they're a reconstruction of a later settlement, so this one is more medieval period, but still very cool. To my immense excitement, the next stop on our way to Gdansk was the beautiful, famous Malbork Castle, which is the largest brick castle in Europe and one of the largest castles in the world, built by the Teutonic Knights in the 1400s. It's huge and amazing and beautiful, and is actually part of an independent research project that I'm doing, so it was very convenient that we went as part of the program, and just absolutely incredible to see everything that's there. We saw like various parts that were reconstructed post World War II, and just like all kinds of amazing things in there. Bye bye, castle. I love you. As you can see, there was a lot in the castle that was pretty breathtaking, and a whole lot of brick. The candlelit room with the giant candle chandeliers is the church, because the Teutonic Knights were a religious order. At least that's how they started out, and then they got very into land conquest. But the church is like this sacred space, and I think it's interesting that they use like real candles still, because there are a lot of museums that wouldn't do that. And yeah, lots of cool artwork, lots of things that were redone in the renovations post World War II, but still really cool to visit and kind of imagine what life might have been like there. That night, after all of our basically side quests, we got to Gdansk and checked into our hotel, got settled in. The next morning, we were off on a walking tour of like some of the architectural hotspots of the city. Got to see the old town and some beautiful buildings, more brick, surprisingly. I guess the Baltic coast isn't rich in other types of building stones, but it's rich in clay, and clay makes bricks, and bricks make buildings. The big building at the start of that clip was the old town hall, which is now a museum, but it is quite big and grand. And then the next clip is of the Church of St. Mary, which is the basilica, and it's massive. It's the largest brick church in Europe, and we do get to go inside it, so that's fun. So our tour took us onto the Granary Island, which back in ye olden days was where all the granaries were. So the northern part of Poland, or Gdansk, like where that area was a big exporter of grain across like Europe, I guess. And the granaries were all on an island, and there are bridges to that island, and we went across one of them, and then it detached and moved so that boats could go through, because there are like tour boats that go through the city, like weaving through the river. And I did speed up the clip. It is at double speed. It doesn't move that fast, but it was still really cool to watch. Our tour guide was like, yeah, you guys got lucky to see it in time, so that was fun. So later on that day, we made it to the Baltic Sea coast, which was very fun. Unfortunately, there wasn't like a proper beach, but it was an early site from like the very first day of World War I. There was like a big battle that happened there as the Germans took over what was then the Free City of Danzig, now Gdansk. And there are a lot of monuments to that there, and like there's kind of like a historical open air museum walk that you can take, so I did that. last night when we all went to go find like sweet treats, ice cream, dessert kind of things at like a corner store, I picked up this Kit Kat Chunky Funky. So I am going to see how it tastes because it probably tastes chunky and funky. So it is some kind of a swirl of white chocolate and milk chocolate. Kind of just tastes like a Kit Kat with some white chocolate on it. It's not that funky, but it's still good. Since there's milk chocolate mixed in, it's not like overly sweetened by the white chocolate. So on Saturday we had another tour around the city. We went to the World War II Museum, which was very illuminating, and it's unique in terms of World War II museums because it doesn't just show the Polish perspective, or it doesn't just show like the main involved nations' perspectives. It shows like everybody's perspective, like the nations that were occupied and the states that were like taken over and got statehood and were revoked statehood, and like every perspective in Europe that you can think would be possibly there is there, and that was very, very interesting to see. And on the way over to the World War II Museum, we did make some other stops at a couple of other historical sites that are like relevant to what we've been learning about. And we also went up in an observation deck of the European Solidarity Center, which we will be coming back to the next day, but that is going to be in the next vlog. So you only get to see the observation deck for now, but it's located on like the old historic shipyard in Gdansk, so you can see from the observation deck, you can see to the shipyard and you can see to the old town, basically the whole city. So I didn't film too much in the museum proper just because I had an audio guide and I was trying to get through it and like focus on what I was learning, but that past clip was a reconstruction of like a pre-war street in a Polish city, just like kind of what that would look like. And then as you go through the museum and see the pictures of like the destruction that was left in the wake of the war, it's a pretty stark contrast. But Gdansk, for example, has rebuilt significantly since the war, and the next couple of clips are some beautiful views of Gdansk by night, so I hope you enjoy that to carry out the vlog, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!